Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of the third season of You Talk It, We Live It. My name is Ellen, and I'm one of your hosts today. You Talk It, We Live It is a podcast created by and for working people. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Donna Quante. And Donna, would you like to say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I am a television camera operator. I've been doing this for 47 years. I was supposed to be a school teacher. That didn't work out, so I went into television because I had actually majored in speech and drama and mass communications at college.
Well, we can get started, if it's okay, with the first question I have for you, Donna. And the first question I have is, I understand you had an experience with Bill Cosby. Can you tell us what happened on the set?
Well, when I was working at ABC in Los Angeles, we did the pilot for the Cosby Show. And the only reason I got to do it was because I was a camera operator on Benson. And they came in to do this pilot, and they wanted a crew that had worked with Black people. Quite honestly, that's what they told us. So the first day in there, I'm pretty sure it was the first or second day. It was pretty close. We're in a scene, and my head's in my viewfinder, and he walks by me and slaps me on the ass. I didn't know who it was, and of course, my reaction to anybody that does that is to turn around and slug them. And I turned around with my fist up and saw it was him and went, oh, So I went back to my work, and I thought, well, what am I going to do about this? So, a little bit later, they called for a 5-minute break, and he was standing by the door where I had to go out to get to the bathrooms. And I walked by him, and I slapped him on the ass. And he turned around and laughed at me and never bothered me again.
Thank you for sharing that, Donna.
I did that show for 5 years. I had no idea what was going on outside of work. I loved going up there and doing that show, and to find out, after it was all over, years later, that he supposedly did what he did is very disconcerting. It's one of those things you go, why didn't I see that? I don't understand it, because quite honestly, there were women waiting for him outside the studio. He didn't have to do that.
It's about control.
It is about control. It's not about sex. Yeah. Oh.
A question that I have is that I know that women in the industry, either in front of and or behind the camera, at some point they're going to be confronted with like ageism and beautyism within the industry. Can you tell us how maybe this has impacted you and what you think the film industry can do to better make that a more accessible space for women?
There was a show that I worked on, I did a pilot for, and I did not get chosen to do the series, and this is as a freelancer. And the thing as a camera operator is you want to do every pilot you can, because if the show gets picked up, normally you're hired to do the show. Well, I was not hired to do the show, and the reason given to me was, we want a stronger crew. And I said, what does that mean, you want a stronger crew? And then we went through a whole thing, and I ended up filing a complaint with the EEOC, and I actually won that.
Would you say then for future people, women especially, who are either thinking about getting into the industry or just now getting into the industry, would you say then that maybe the best recourse is do your best to, file a complaint, make some noise?
First of all, getting into the business anymore is really difficult unless you know somebody. When you're new, and if you complain, you probably won't get hired again. And it's not a fair industry. I can tell you that for sure. It's not a fair industry towards women. I worked and especially in New York, where we were all union, but the women were not given chances to be operators. And the only reason I got in there is because I knew people that I'd worked with in Los Angeles.
Well, thank you for sharing about those experiences. It was really interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoy hearing your experiences. And I actually I noticed when you talked about at the beginning some of the sexism, Emily and I are like what the heck? But Ellen, you were like, yeah, nope, that's the thing. Yep. I think that was just a really amazing perspective to see across generations how some of that struggle has changed.
Right.
And unfortunately, how much of it hasn't helped people stand up. It's still happening. Let's do something about it. What is the title of your book, if you have it, and when might it be coming out?
Tentatively, it's called Baltimore Bimbo, because that was when I worked at ABC. There were two other ladies there. We all started at Maryland Public TV. The one lady went out to Los Angeles first. She convinced me to come out, and then we dragged our other friend Iris out. So we happened to be working one show together. We hardly ever worked together when we were there. ABC must have had, I don't know, 50 or 60 camera operators. 4 of us were women. And anyway, so we all were on this one show together, and a friend of ours who was a boom operator, who we love to death. And he walked in and he went, "Oh my God, the Baltimore Bimbos are all here." And I said, "Oh my God, that's a great title for a book."
Well, I'm planning on buying a copy of Baltimore Bimbos when it comes out.
Same.
Well,
Yes, same.
I think that about wraps up all the questions that we were prepared to ask for you. Thank you everybody for tuning into the first episode of the 3rd season of You Talk It, We Live It. This is our first interview with our new host, Ellen. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Donna, for coming on and sharing your experiences with us. It was really enriching, and we really appreciate that.